I mean, literally national publicity, just banging out not guilties after not guilties. And I'm watching these lawyers, I'm like, I'm just trying to work on my art and get people and fight these cases. And I think the way you build it is you get that big case, but you show the world who you are.
Yo, what's good, fam? Today we're diving deep into some exclusive legal moves that just might change everything for Lil Durk. And trust me, this isn't your average update. This is the kind of information that gets the streets talking and the lawyers sweating. So, here's what went down. Durk's lawyer, none other than Drew Findling, the billionaire-tier attorney known for taking impossible cases and flipping them upside down, just filed some paperwork that had the feds scrambling like roaches when the lights came on. No cap, this motion isn't just a routine legal maneuver. It's a full-on game changer. Drew basically told the government, show me the evidence or shut the hell up. And fam, when I say this shifted the entire playing field, I mean it. For years now, the feds have been painting Lil Durk as a mastermind behind a murder plot involving Quando Rondo, claiming he orchestrated a bounty, gave directions to his crew, and basically ran the whole operation from afar. But here's the thing. The allegations have been vague as hell. When Drew asked for specifics, exactly when, where, what money was involved, what was said, who was present, the government went dead silent. Crickets, fam. They've been throwing dramatic street stories at the court, hoping the spectacle overshadows the lack of actual proof. And that's where Drew's motion comes in to expose the cracks. He filed what's called a motion to dismiss for vagueness, and while that might sound boring to some, this is deadly serious. He told the court that the charges are so unclear that Durk can't even properly defend himself. Imagine being accused of robbing a store, but nobody can tell you which store, what day, or how much money was taken. How are you supposed to prove you weren't there? That's exactly what's happening in this case. The feds keep talking about a supposed bounty, but they can't provide any real details. For nearly 2 years, they've operated on speculation and assumptions, trying to scare the jury with dramatic stories about shootings, stalking, and street activity. But there's zero concrete evidence connecting Durk to any orders. And that's just the beginning. The government star witness, referred to as PW1 in the documents, has been flipping his story constantly. First, he said there was no bounty. Then, he claimed he didn't agree to kill anyone. Later, he said he was acting under duress. Now, all of a sudden, he's saying Durk's team stayed behind in L.A. to distribute bounty money. But the government's own evidence proves this part is false, and they even had to remove it from their second indictment. Drew pointed this out perfectly, noting that when a witness keeps changing their story, the defense is aiming at a moving target, and that's fundamentally unfair in any courtroom. And it doesn't stop there. The feds tried to use Durk's rap lyrics as evidence, claiming they prove intent or involvement in crimes. Drew demolished that argument completely, telling the court that if they can't prove their case without relying on creative work, then they don't actually have a case. They've got terabytes of phone data, cooperating witnesses, intelligence from across the country, but they still need lyrics? Weak. Drew also addressed code language, pointing out that the government can't ambush Durk with claims that certain phrases meant one thing when he had no way to prepare a defense. That's trial by ambush, and it's illegal. What this motion does is expose the government's entire strategy. They've been hoping to dazzle the jury with dramatic videos, photos, and street stories, but they can't actually connect Durk to the planning or execution of any alleged crimes. Showing a robbery video doesn't prove he planned it, and that's the core weakness Drew is exploiting. The government even tried to argue that Durk's alleged words weren't essential to crime, but Drew clapped back hard, pointing out that offering a bounty is central to a murder-for-hire charge, just like a material misrepresentation is central to wire fraud. The implications are massive. This motion forces the government to show their cards and provides a blueprint for challenging unreliable witnesses. PW1's constantly shifting story undermines their credibility, and the feds have already removed parts of their indictment because the evidence didn't back it up. Drew's strategy attacks the foundation of the case. Without proving the bounty allegation, most of the other charges collapse. Plus, it highlights how the government has been changing their narrative mid-case, trying to prosecute Durk on different facts than what the grand jury indicted him for, which is illegal. From a street perspective, this makes total sense. Federal cases usually hinge on flipping someone close to the accused, but if that person keeps changing their story and the evidence doesn't match, the case crumbles. And let's not forget the timeline. Durk wasn't even in Georgia when King Von was killed, nor in L.A. when the shooting happened. The Fed's only connection is through alleged directions he gave to others, but they can't prove what those directions were when he gave them or how. Drew's motion goes on the offensive, demanding specifics about the bounty and alleged directions, forcing the government to either produce evidence they might not have or admit they've been speculating all along. Even if the case isn't dismissed outright, the court could require a bill of particulars, a detailed breakdown of allegations, and if the feds can't provide consistent details, Durk's team can use that to demolish the case at trial. And this has broader implications for hip-hop culture. Courts have tried using rap lyrics as evidence against artists, from Bobby Shmurda to YNW Melly, but Drew's motion challenges that practice directly, setting a potential precedent that protects creative expression from being used as proof of criminal activity. The government even tried to tie a song released 7 months before the alleged crime to intent, which makes zero sense. You can't use something from months earlier to prove a specific action. It's illogical. And the witness issues? That's where the Fed's case falls apart. A witness with zero credibility trying to testify on the central allegation is not going to convince a jury. What they don't have is recordings of Durk ordering anything, texts, financial records showing payment, or witnesses who heard specific instructions. Just circumstantial evidence and a witness who can't stick to one story. Drew's strategy is brilliant because he's not just defending Durk, he's attacking the prosecution's credibility. By exposing all these gaps, he's making it impossible for the feds to overwhelm a jury. Even if some evidence is damaging, the jury will. Remember that the government couldn't provide basic, consistent details. Bottom line, this motion might have just saved Lil Durk's life. The feds thought they could scare a jury with dramatic storytelling, but Drew exposed all the holes. He forced them to either put up or shut up, and based on what we're seeing, they might not be able to produce the proof they need. Durk's chances just skyrocketed. The streets have been shouting free Durk since day one, and after this motion, that could actually happen sooner than anyone expected. The motion forces transparency, exposes unreliable witnesses, challenges illegal tactics, and reinforces the principle that the burden of proof is on the prosecution, not the defense. If they can't prove when, where, or how Durk allegedly offered bounty, this whole case could collapse. The legal strategy here is next level, turning a defense into an aggressive offensive, and it shows exactly why having the right lawyer can make all the difference. So, fam, think about this. 2 years of government allegations, unreliable witnesses, no recordings, no text proof, and now a motion that pulls back the curtain on every weak spot in their case. This isn't just a win for Durk. It's a potential game changer for hip-hop culture, for artists facing similar scrutiny, and for the principle of justice over spectacle. The streets have been rooting for Durk, and now, with Drew Finling's motion, there's a real chance he could walk free sooner than anyone expected. Real recognize real. And this motion is the ultimate example of turning the system on its head, proving that even in the face of federal allegations, a sharp lawyer and strategic defense can expose the cracks in the government's case and give a fighter like Durk a shot at freedom.